It is time now to talk politics with our State House insiders, Antoine Seawright, our Democratic strategist, Dave Wilson, our Republican strategist. A big weekend for the Democrats here in South Carolina as President Joe Biden comes to Columbia.
Welcome back, Mr. President. We are looking forward to having the president first in the nation dinner. He will be here for the weekend. I think you'll see him engage directly with voters between Saturday and Sunday while he's in town. But also we'll welcome the First Lady to South Carolina on Friday evening, which she'll have an Educators for Biden event, and then she will participate at the Pink Ice Gala with the Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated 40th anniversary scholarship celebration. And so what that means is South Carolina matters. And it matters to South Carolina Democrats. Certainly South Carolina matters to Republicans in this process, and you cannot get to the White House without coming through this pit stop known as the Palmetto State.
You're going to see it has held itself out since 1980. With the exception of one time with both parties, South Carolina has picked the nominee for president for both parties. We are the battleground state, and this is the place where the decision gets made, and we're seeing that play itself out on the Republican side as well. You've got Nikki Haley, who last night came back to South Carolina and started campaigning here. She's got basically 4 weeks to make her case, and she's done more in less time before, but it is up against the wall of Donald Trump and a lot of folks who have now come in and endorsed him after Ron DeSantis left the race.
And Antoine, I saw you smiling during those remarks.
You always smile.
You believe it is already over for Nikki Haley.
I believe it was over before it started. Look, she's pushing water up a hill. Every member of the federal congressional delegation, most members of the State House, and everything in between have come out and endorsed the former president to be the Republican nominee. Not only that, you have state party activists and chairs at the national level and at the local level in other places saying it's time to unite because the writing is on the wall. There's no way the former governor of South Carolina can make up ground. She tried this act of running away from Trump but embracing Trumpism, and the voters said, why should we vote for something that's not the real thing when we had the option of having the real thing?
Nikki Haley came in third place in Iowa, second place. She came within 11 and a half points of Donald Trump in New Hampshire, but she put all of her investment basically in New Hampshire. She's now going to come to South Carolina. The only way Nikki Haley really gets past Super Tuesday, which keep in mind, we vote as Republicans on Saturday, February the 24th. The following Tuesday is going to be the Super Tuesday, or a week and a half after that. And that's going to be a place where she's going to be having to campaign in multiple states. And I don't think she'll have the infrastructure in place to be able to do that.
Hey, let's remind David something. Nikki Haley, the lady who ran as an outsider, who talked about all this bad outside spending that came to South Carolina, $4 million from American Force Prosperity will come into this state in the next few weeks in favor of Nikki Haley. That's why voters are rejecting the non-authenticity that comes with candidate Haley.
All right, let's look back at last night's State address by Governor McMaster, his 7th here in South Carolina, and if he serves the remainder of his term, he'll have 9, more than any other governor here in the state. Dave, what's your reaction to last night's remarks?
Henry McMaster made it very clear that workforce development and the readiness of the workforce for that goes all the way from early childhood education, the funding that needs to go into education, talking about teacher pay raises, getting them up to a minimum starting salary of $50,000 by 2026, all the way up to what has to be done to bring infrastructure into place for people to have jobs and get to jobs. So he talked about the entire expanse of everything from education to workforce and beyond.
Look, I think the governor did a great job of talking about many of the benefits that have come from the Biden-Harris administration, particularly when you talk about jobs and economic development, when you talk about manufacturing and the prosperity the state is enjoying right now. A lot of that has been resulted of the Biden-Harris administration, and thank God for our anchor in the delegation, Jim Clyburn. But what the governor also did was demonstrate that he has no consequences for a re-election campaign. And so he talked about things that will matter to the state beyond his term as governor, and he put the pressure on the General Assembly to get those things done. He painted the vision. He expects the General Assembly, or is asking the General Assembly to execute his vision.
Because the General Assembly in South Carolina is the group that has the power. They're the ones who make the laws. They're the ones who set the budget. The governor makes recommendations in the way that our state is structured right now. And you heard for the first time tonight him start talking about even more government consolidation. We split apart DHEC last year. Now they're going to create a whole new health agency that will then consolidate mental health. It'll consolidate the health and human services and a number of those others into one agency that reports to the governor. That's going to be a big next step.
One of the most important things in his speech tonight, in my viewpoint, was the mental health piece. There's so many youngsters suffering with mental health issues. Pandemic, you can paint a number of things added to the picture. But that was a critical piece that I hope the General Assembly will take very, very serious.
And that's part of what he talked about for school resource officers as well as school health, mental health folks. Because, JR, that's a place where we're seeing the proliferation of what we see with social media and everything else going into the minds of our kids. That's starting to play itself out now.
All right. For all things politics, of course, stay with us here at News 19. And as always, we'll have much more on our website, WLTX.com. Dave, Antoine, guys, thank you very much.